There's something different about highways after midnight. The rain blurs the lines. The radio fades to static. And the only thing keeping you company is the sound of your own engine. Truckers say the loneliest stretches of American road aren't empty. They're watched. And sometimes what steps into your headlights doesn't cross the road. It keeps pace with you. If you've never driven through Nevada at 2 a.m., you don't understand what silence really is. No trees, no houses, no lights for miles, just desert and highway stretching forever under cold moonlight. I've been driving rigs for 14 years. Coast to coast, snowstorms, black ice, breakdowns, in nowhere towns. But nothing ever scared me. Until Channel 19 went quiet. For non-truckers, Channel 19 is the CB channel most of us use on highways. It's constant chatter, warnings about cops, road hazards, jokes, arguments. It never goes completely silent, ever. I was hauling refrigeration units from Salt Lake to Reno. Middle of the night run, fewer way stations open, less traffic. Around mile marker 214, the chatter started thinning out. That wasn't strange. Desert stretchers do that. But then it stopped completely. No static, no background hiss, just dead air. I checked the unit, power on, signal meter active, but no sound. Then a voice came through, soft, almost too clear. Breaker 19. The voice was wrong. No engine noise behind it, no radio crackle, just pure, clean audio. Anybody out there? I picked up the mic. Yeah? You got Mason rolling westbound? Who's this? Silence. Then, mile marker 29. My eyes flicked. To the GPS, I was at 214. Don't pass it. The signal cut. Static returned. Then normal chatter flooded back in like nothing happened. Bear on the shoulder at 218. Smoky running median like it had never gone silent. My hands tightened on the wheel. Probably some bored idiot messing around. Probably at mile marker 2. I saw the first truck. Parked on the shoulder, engine off, lights off. That's unusual. Truckers don't kill lights on highway shoulders at night. Unless something's wrong. As I passed, I glanced over. Driver door wide open. Cab light off. No movement. I slowed slightly. Eastbound parked at 212. You good? I called on CB. No response. My stomach tightened. I kept driving. 2 miles later, mile marker, 200. 10 another truck. Same thing. Lights off. Door open. Empty. Now my pulse was climbing. I grabbed the mic again. Anyone else seeing these rigs parked dead on shoulder? No one responded to that. But chatter continued about traffic near Reno, like nobody else was on this stretch with me. Then the CB went quiet again, completely, and the same voice came back, closer this time. 209. I was half a mile away now. Don't pass, I swallowed. Who is this? I demanded. Silence. Then, it's standing there. My skin prickled, standing there. The signal cut again. Normal chatter resumed instantly, like flipping a switch. I could see mile marker 209 ahead in my headlights, and something beside it. At first, I thought it was a sign, or a broken post, but it was. Too tall, too straight. It was standing in the emergency lane, facing the road, facing me. Humanoid shape. Completely still. No reflective clothing. No vehicle nearby. No reason to be there. My headlights hit it fully at 70 miles per hour. It was at least 7 feet tall. Arms hanging too long at its sides. Head slightly tilted. No movement. just watching, and as I got closer, stepped into the lane. Not rushed, not lunging, just one smooth step. Blocking the road, instinct took over. I swerved hard left into the oncoming lane. There were no cars for miles. The truck roared past it, and in that split second I saw its face. Pale, featureless, no visible eyes, no mouth. Just smooth skin stretched tight over a skull-like shape. My heart slammed into my ribs. I checked my side mirror. It hadn't moved. It simply turned its head, tracking my trailer as I passed. And then it was gone, like it blinked out the road. Behind me was empty. I was shaking now. Bad. Anybody copy what just happened at 209? I barked into the CB. No answer, but static began creeping into the channel. Soft at first, then louder, then the voice again. You passed. I felt cold all the way down my spine. You weren't supposed to pass. My headlights flickered. Once, dashboard lights dimmed. The engine didn't lose power, but the cab felt darker, smaller. Pull over. No, I muttered. Pull over. The voice wasn't angry. It sounded disappointed. Then something hit the trailer. Hard. The entire rig jolted. I nearly lost control. Another impact. From the back. Like something had landed on it. I checked the side mirror. For half a second I saw it. On top of the trailer. Crouched. Long limbs gripping the metal edges. Head pressed low against the roof. Facing forward. Facing me. My breath caught in my throat. It began crawling forward. Slowly. Metal groaning under its weight. Toward the cab. Toward me. I floored the accelerator. The engine screamed. 80 miles per hour. The desert. Blurred past. The creature didn't slip. Didn't fall. It crawled closer. Lena did something worse. It leaned over the edge of the trailer and dropped down onto the hood. The impact cracked the windshield instantly. Spiderweb fractures spreading across the glass. It crouched there, hands gripping the metal frame. Its face inches from mine through shattered glass. Up close there were no features, but the skin pulsed. Slightly, like something moved underneath it. It tilted its head slowly, and I heard the CB click on. Pull over. Its head jerked slightly with each word, like it was syncing the audio. The voice wasn't coming from the radio. It was coming from it, through it, using it. I grabbed the fire extinguisher mounted beside the seat and smashed it against the windshield. The glass shattered inward, wind exploded into the cab. I slammed the brakes, hard. The sudden deceleration threw it forward. It lost grip, rolled off the hood. I didn't wait. I accelerated again immediately. Didn't look back. Didn't check mirrors. Didn't stop until Reno lights appeared on the horizon. When I pulled into a lit truck stop, my legs barely worked. Other drivers stared at my windshield, at the claw-like dents in the hood, at the long scrape marks across the trailer roof. Animal. One guy asked. I shook my head, couldn't answer. I checked the CB one last time before shutting the truck down. Channel 19 was active. Normal chatter, laughing, jokes. Then very faintly under it a whisper. 209. I haven't driven that stretch since. But here's the thing. Last week, another driver went missing near mile marker 209. His truck was found on the shoulder. Engine off. Lights off. Driver door open. No sign of struggle. And the CB mic hanging loose, still warm. I told myself I wouldn't go back. I lasted 12 days. 12 nights of waking up at exactly 2:09 a.m. Every time, no alarm, no reason, just my eyes snapping open to darkness and the faint memory of that voice. You passed. I tried running. Other routes, California coast, Oregon, timberlines, even short regional hauls. But every time I keyed the C, every single time, there'd be a flicker of dead air. Just for a second, then a whisper buried under static. 2:09. I stopped sleeping, stopped eating right. Finally, I did something stupid. I volunteered for the same Yuta Torino hall, same cargo type, same departure time. If something was out there, I needed to see it again, because not knowing was worse. I hit Nevada just after midnight, desert wide and empty, moon low, wind pushing sand across the asphalt. Channel 19 was alive with chatter, jokes about scale houses, weather reports, nothing unusual. At mile marker 220, I felt it, that heavy silence creeping in. One by one, voices dropped off, not cutting mid-sentence, finishing thoughts, then not being. Replaced, like someone was gently lowering a volume slider on the entire highway. By 215 dead air, complete, no static, no hiss, just nothing. My hands tightened around the wheel. Breaker 19, radio check, I said. Silence. Then, Mason. The voice was clearer this time, not distorted, calm, measured. You came back? My stomach dropped. You want me? I muttered. Here I am. Long pause. Yes. Ahead in the distance, I saw headlights. Another truck, parked on the shoulder, at 2:13. Engine off, lights off, door open, same as before, but this time there was something different. A shape standing beside it, tall, still, facing the cab as I passed. I glanced over, the cab interior light flicked on for half a second, and I saw the driver inside, sitting upright, hands on the wheel, staring forward. But something was wrong. His head was tilted too far back, jaw hanging loose, and his face smooth, featureless. Like clay pulled over bone, the light snapped off again. The truck disappeared in my mirrors. My heart was slamming so hard I could hear it in my ears. Don't look at them, the voice whispered. They're empty. Empty? The word stuck in my throat. What are you? I demanded. No answer. Just a faint clicking sound through the speaker, like a mic keying on and off, over and over. Mile marker 210, another parked truck, door open, but this time something moved inside. A twitch, then slow, mechanical motion. The driver turned his head toward the highway, toward me, and even at 70 miles per hour, I could see the smoothness of his face. No eyes, no mouth, just blank skin. The CB crackled. They pulled over. You didn't. My pulse spiked. So what? This your punishment? You didn't follow instruction? The way it said instruction felt wrong, like it had learned the word from somewhere official. Formal, authority-based, then a head mile marker 209. And this time, the road was blocked, not by a truck, by 3 of them, parked diagonally across both lanes, lights off, doors open, no hazard signals, just dark silhouettes cutting off the highway. I slowed, heart racing. The desert around me felt tighter somehow, smaller. The CB clicked on. Pull over? No. Pull over? The tone wasn't angry. It was procedural, like a dispatcher giving directions. This is a safety checkpoint. The phrasing sent ice through my veins. It had improved, refined, learned tone, learned structure, learned authority. I stopped 50 yards short of the blockade. The desert was dead silent, wind gone, insects gone, even the hum of my engine felt muted. Then they stepped out, from each parked truck. Drivers, 3 of them, all tall, too tall, limbs slightly elongated, movements slightly delayed. They walked into the middle of the highway, standing shoulder to shoulder, blocking both lanes. Featureless faces turned toward me. The CB hissed softly. Inspection? My mind raced. They weren't attacking, they were staging. Like a way station, like enforcement, like something mimicking highway procedure. Inspection for what? I asked hoarsely. Long pause, then, compliance? My blood ran cold. Compliance? Not pray, not kill. Compliance. The three figures began walking toward my truck in synchronized steps. Slow, identical pace, arms hanging stiff at their sides. And behind them in the darkness I saw it, the original one, taller, standing behind the others, observing, supervising, its head tilted slightly, studying my reaction. It had evolved. The desert wasn't hunting ground, it was experiment zone, testing. How drivers respond to authority cues, learning human patterns, seeing who obeyed instructions to pull over, and what happened when they did. The CB crackled again. Last warning. The three figures were 20 yards away now. Their movements were too smooth, too mechanical. I realized something. The trucks blocking the road weren't random. They were bait. Drivers who complied. Drivers who pulled over. Now repurposed, empty, used. As decoys, used as examples, I threw the truck into reverse. The engine roared. The figures didn't run, didn't chase. They simply stopped, watching. The taller one behind them raised one arm slowly, and every parked truck's headlights turned on at once. Blinding white light flooded the highway, my mirrors, filled with brightness, and in that glare the three figures' bodies twitched. Their outlines flickered, like bad reception, static crawling along their edges. The CB screamed with feedback. Then every truck radio on the blocked rigs activated. At once, voices overlapping. Pull over, inspection, compliance. Dozens of layered tones, male, female, young, old, all drivers, all repeated, collected, stored, rebroadcast. The taller one stepped forward, and for the first time its face shifted, not smooth. Any more subtle indentations forming, eye sockets, a mouth line, rough outlines. It was learning shape, learning expression. From the drivers, it took. I slammed the brakes in reverse and whipped the wheel hard. The trailer jackknifed slightly, but corrected. I spun the rig in a tight U-turn across the empty desert shoulder, sand spraying everywhere as I accelerated eastbound back. The way I came, I looked once in the mirror. The blockade was gone. No trucks, no figures, just empty road. But the CB whispered softly, non-compliant. And then, tracking. I didn't stop until sunrise, didn't report it, didn't tell dispatch, but something changed after that night. Channel 19 isn't the same. Every once in a while, especially on lonely desert stretches, there's a slight delay in conversations, like something's listening first, processing, then letting the chatter continue. And sometimes at exactly 2:09 a.m., everything goes dead for 3 seconds, and in that silence a calm voice says, inspection. Pending. I don't drive nights anymore, but plenty of drivers still do. And if you ever hear someone on Channel 19 telling you to pull over at mile marker 209, don't. Because whatever is out there, it's not enforcing traffic laws, it's enforcing obedience. If you drive long enough, you memorize the way stations. Which ones stay open late, which ones close at sunset, which ones are permanently abandoned. Route 54 through western Kansas has one that's been shut down for 8 years. Boarded windows, barriers across the ramps, weeds cracking through the concrete. Everyone knows it's dead. That's why what happened makes no sense. It was 1:36 a.m. when I saw the open sign glowing ahead, bright amber letters over the ramp. Way station open, all trucks, must exit. Blinked hard. That station hadn't operated in years. I'd passed it dozens of times, dark every single time, but tonight. Floodlights illuminated the ramp. Fresh cones lined the shoulder. Electronic sign flashing clearly, and behind me, another rig was approaching fast. I hesitated. Dispatch fines you heavy if you skip an open scale, even if you think it's a mistake. I keyed the CB. Anyone got eyes on the 54 scale house? Since when's it open? Static, no answer. Channel 19 was active, but nobody responded to that question. Like they hadn't heard it. The sign flashed again. All trucks must excited. The word must blinked brighter than the rest. I felt something tight coil in my stomach, but I took the ramp. The moment I turned off the highway, something felt wrong. The pavement was smooth. Too smooth, like it had been recently repaved. But I knew for a fact that place had weeds growing through cracks last month. The floodlights hummed overhead, bright white, not the old yellow sodium lamps I remembered. The building itself looked newer, cleaner, no boarded windows, glass intact, interior lights on. But there were no other trucks in the lot, none. Even though one had been behind me seconds ago. I checked my mirrors. Highway empty. Like I'd been alone the whole time, a sign directed me onto the scale platform. I rolled forward slowly, stopped when the red light flashed. The speaker box beside the window crackled. Then a calm, clear voice came through. Engine off, remain in vehicle, standard procedure, but the tone felt too smooth. No background noise, no radio chatter behind it. Just pure audio. I shut the engine down. Silence swallowed the lot instantly. No wind, no highway noise, nothing. The speaker crackled again. Driver, state your cargo, refrigerated produce. I answered. Pause. Then, step out of the vehicle. That's not normal. Drivers, stay in cab unless directed for inspection. And usually there's an officer visible. I looked toward the scale house window. There was someone inside, standing behind the glass, but they weren't moving, just standing there, watching. The speaker repeated, step out of the vehicle. This time, the tone dropped slightly, less neutral, more firm. I opened my door slowly. The air outside felt heavy, still, wrong. When my boots hit the pavement, the floodlights flickered once. I looked up at the scale house. The figure inside hadn't moved. But now I could see something strange. The uniform. It looked right at first glance. Dark shirt, badge, reflective vest, but it fit oddly, like clothes draped over something not shaped quite right. The proportions were slightly off. Arms a little too long, shoulders slightly too narrow. The door to the scale house opened automatically. No one stepped out. The voice now came from inside. Proceed to inspection. My instincts screamed at me to get back in the truck. But there's something about authority cues, signage, lighting, official tone. It triggers automatic compliance, and that's what scared me most. How normal it all felt, even though it wasn't. I walked toward the building. Each step echoed too loudly. The interior lights buzzed faintly. As I got closer, I saw the face behind the glass clearly, and my blood went cold. It had features, eyes, nose, mouth, but they looked slightly misplaced, too symmetrical, too centered, like someone had studied a human face from a textbook and recreated it from memory. The mouth curved upwards slightly, not quite a smile, not quite neutral, just positioned. The door slid open silently. Cool air spilled out. Enter, the voice said. I stepped inside. and immediately noticed there were no computers, no paperwork, no scale monitors. The room was almost empty. Just bright lights, white walls, and 3 chairs bolted to the floor, facing the back wall. The figure stood behind a counter. Up close, it was worse. The skin texture was wrong. Too smooth, almost matte. The eyes didn't blink often enough, and when they did, they closed sideways slightly before finishing normally. Like the motion had been rehearsed, Lyson had said. I handed it over. Its fingers brushed mine. Cold, not cold like dead skin, cold like metal left outside at night. It examined the cart without moving its eyes down, just holding it still. Then, you hesitated before exiting. My heart skipped. What? You hesitated, it repeated calmly. Why? That wasn't inspection talk. That was evaluation. I forced a shrug. Just tired. Long pause. The eyes narrowed slightly. Then it turned its head toward the back wall, and I saw something that made my stomach drop. There was a door behind it, half open, and through the gap I saw other figures, standing still, in identical uniforms, facing forward, not moving, waiting for instruction. The one in front looked back at me. You may return to your vehicle. Relief flooded me instantly, too quickly, like it wanted that reaction. I stepped backward, toward the exit. The lights flickered again, but this time they dimmed for half a second, and in that half second the room changed. The white walls were stained, dark streaks trailing downward. The chairs bolted to the floor, had restraints attached, and the figures behind the back door, their faces weren't correct yet. Some smooth, some half-formed, like incomplete attempts. The light snapped back to normal, clean, bright. The figure smiled slightly. You are compliant. The word hit me hard. Compliant. Same word from the desert highway story weeks earlier. But this was different, more refined, more structured. I stepped outside quickly, got back into the truck, hands shaking. The speaker crackled one last time. Proceed safely. The ramp gate lifted. I pulled back onto the highway. The moment my tires hit the asphalt, everything behind me went dark. No floodlights, no sign, no building lights. I looked in the mirror. The way station was abandoned again, boarded up, overgrown, dead, like always. The next morning, I called a buddy who runs that route weekly, asked if the 54 scale house reopened. He laughed, says, "Who? That place has fallen apart. It wasn't last night." He went quiet for a second, then said something I didn't expect. Couple guys have gone missing around that stretch past few years. Always at night, trucks found parked on the ramp. Engines off, doors closed, keys inside. My mouth went dry. Any signs of struggle? Nope, clean as can be. I hung up, did some digging. State records show that way station officially closed in 2018. No power supply connected since then. No maintenance, no staff, but truck GPS logs from missing drivers. They show stopped at that. Ramp for exactly 11 minutes, every time. Inspection length, 11 minutes. Now here's the worst part. Last night, rolling through Missouri, a way station sign flashed ahead. One I'd never seen before. Brand new, bright amber letters. Temporary inspection, all trucks. Exity checked the map. There was no station listed there. None. Channel 19 went silent, and the sign blinked once more. Compliance rec ready didn't take the ramp. I kept driving. In my mirror I saw floodlights switch on, one by one, illuminating an empty exit behind me. Waiting, they're not tied to one location. They move, and they're learning how to look more official every time. If you drive long haul, you get used to being alone. 40 tons of steel, endless road, just engine noise and your own thoughts. You learn the sounds of your truck, the rattle behind the dash, the hum of the refrigeration unit, the slight shift in air pressure when you open a window, so when you hear something new, you know. I was hauling electronics from Atlanta to Denver, today run. I decided to push late into the night through Tennessee to avoid morning traffic. Around 1:18 a.m., traffic thinned to almost nothing. Mountains on both sides. Dark tree lines. No rest stops for another 40 miles. I was fully awake. Windows cracked slightly. Radio low. Then I heard it, a soft thump, behind me. From the sleeper compartment, I frowned, probably cargo shifting. Even though the trailer was sealed and balanced, another sound, fabric moving. Like someone adjusting blankets. I glanced in the mirror mounted above my seat. The sleeper curtain was drawn. Halfway, dark back there. Still, get it together, I muttered to myself. Road fatigue does things to your head. You start imagining noises. I turned up the radio slightly, country station static humming. Then the radio cut out, dead silence, and I heard breathing, not mine, slow, measured, behind me. From the sleeper, every muscle in my body locked up. I kept my eyes forward, hands on the wheel. Not real. I whispered. The breathing continued. Slow inhale, slow exhale. Too steady to be imagination. I reached up slowly and slid the sleeper curtain. Fully closed, sealed off the back. Silence, no breathing, no movement, just engine noise. I laughed nervously. Yep, that's what I thought, but my hands were shaking. 20 miles later, I couldn't shake the feeling. I decided to pull into a rest area to check the truck. It was nearly 2 a.m., empty parking lot. One other rig parked far at the end. Lights off. I parked under a lamp, killed the engine, sat still, listened, nothing. I grabbed my flashlight, opened the cab door, walked around the truck, checked the trailer seals, intact, no. Sign of tampering, no cut locks, no open panels, everything normal. When I climbed back inside, the sleeper curtain was open. Halfway, I know I closed it. I stood there staring at it for a long time. The sleeper compartment was dim, just the faint glow from outside lamps. Blanket slightly wrinkled, pillow slightly indented, like someone had leaned against it. My throat went dry. I leaned slowly into the sleeper space, shined my flashlight across it. Empty, no one there. No movement, no sound, just my own breathing echoing too loud in my ears. I shut the curtain again, hard this time, got back in the driver's seat, locked all doors and decided to keep driving. I didn't want to sleep there. Back on the highway, something changed. The air inside the cab felt colder. Colder than the AC setting. Like the temperature dropped 10 degrees. I rubbed my arms. Come on. The radio flickered back on by itself. Static first, then a faint whisper. Don't stop. I nearly slammed the brakes.
What?
I barked. Silence. Then normal music resumed. I checked my phone. No signal, of course. Mountain stretch. Then the breathing started again, from the sleeper, closer this time. Not deep breathing, but right behind the curtain, just inches away. I didn't look. I didn't dare. Instead, I reached back slowly, with one hand and yanked the curtain open. Nothing. Empty. Bait. Still pillow. Still blanket. Breathing stopped instantly. I sat frozen for a second. Then from directly behind my seat a whisper. Keep driving. Hot air brushed against my ear. I slammed my foot down instinctively. The truck surged forward. I spun around. No one in the passenger seat. No one behind it. The sleeper empty. but the seatbelt in the passenger seat was stretched slightly, like it had just been released. My vision tunneled. This wasn't fatigue. This wasn't imagination. Something was inside the cab, and it didn't want me stopping. Mile marker 73. Construction zone ahead, single lane, concrete barriers on both sides, no shoulder, no escape. The perfect stretch where you can't pull over. The breathing returned, calmer now, satisfied, like it knew I had no options. Then I saw something in the windshield. Reflection, behind me, in the sleeper, a shape sitting upright on the bed. Humanoid outline, head tilted slightly, watching me. I froze, didn't turn around, just stared at the reflection. It didn't move, just sat there, long arms resting on its knees. Too long. The cab temperature dropped again. My breath fogged slightly. The whisper came from the back again. Don't look. My heart was slamming violently. If I looked directly, I felt like something would change, like a rule would be broken, but I couldn't help it. Slowly I turned my head. The sleeper was empty, but the mattress had a deep indentation, as if someone heavy sat there seconds ago. Then the truck jolted hard. Something shifted weight behind me. The entire cab dipped slightly. I spun fully around, and for half a second I saw it. Crouched in the narrow space between the sleeper and the back wall, limbs folded wrong, joint angles slightly off, skin pale, featureless face, but where eyes should be, two dark indentations slowly forming. Not fully shaped yet, learning, copying. The moment I locked eyes with Itet smiled, or at least the lower half of its face split slightly where a mouth should be. The radio blasted static so loud I yelled. I snapped back forward and slammed the brakes. At the end of the construction zone, the truck screeched to a stop, hazard lights flashing. Dead silence. I didn't care about traffic, didn't care about fines. I threw the door open and jumped out onto the road. Ran around to the passenger side, yanked the door open, empty, no one inside. I climbed back in cautiously, every inch of the sleeper empty, no indentations, no cold air, just normal cab temperature. I stood there, breathing hard. Then from the far end of the highway headlights approached, another truck, as it passed slowly. The driver looked over at me, and my blood froze, because sitting in his passenger seat was something pale, featureless, head tilted, watching me, and as the truck rolled past, I heard faintly over my own CB. Don't stop. I haven't slept in the sleeper since. I book motels now. But here's the worst part. Last night, in a motel room in Oklahoma, I woke up at 1:18 a.m. to the sound of breathing from the chair across the room and a whisper. You stopped. I didn't go back to sleep in that motel room. I couldn't. The breathing from the chair across the room stopped the moment I sat up in bed. The lamp beside me was still on. I never sleep in full darkness anymore. Not after what happened in Tennessee. The chair was empty. Just a cheap motel armchair with cracked vinyl cushions. But the carpet beneath it was slightly pressed down, as if something heavy had been sitting there for a long time, watching me, waiting. I grabbed my phone. 1:18 a.m., the same time it started in the truck. Not coincidence, not random. It had followed me. The whisper returned, softer now. You stopped? The voice didn't come from the chair this time. It came from the bathroom. The door was slightly open. Dark inside. I slowly swung my legs off the bed. My body felt heavy, like the air in the room was thick. Wrong. I stood up, walked toward the bathroom. Each step felt too loud, too exposed. The whisper came again, clearer. Drivers don't stop. I pushed the bathroom door open, empty. Shower curtains still drawn open, sink dry. Mirror fogged slightly, but not from steam. From breath. On the inside, I stared at the mirror, a faint oval shape in the fog, like someone had leaned in close. breathing against it. From the other side, the light flickered, and in the reflection behind me something stood in the doorway. Tall, limbs too long for the narrow space, head slightly tilted, featureless face. But Nat had eyes. They weren't carved in, they were forming, dark hollows, stretching deeper with each second. Learning how to look, learning how to see, I didn't. Turn around, I couldn't, because in the reflection it leaned closer. Its mouth split wider than before, not a human mouth, a vertical tear across smooth skin, and it whispered, "If you stop, you become the passenger." The bathroom light shattered, glass exploded. I spun around, nothing there. Empty doorway, dead silence. I bolted out of the room. Didn't pack, didn't check out, just ran to the truck, climbed in, locked every door, started the engine. The cab lights flickered once, then stabilized. I didn't care where I was going, I just drove. Because apparently stopping is what it wanted. I drove until sunrise, didn't feel tired, didn't feel anything, just the road, just movement. At 7:42 a.m., my CB crackled. I hadn't turned it on, breaker 19 static. "You got company?" I stared at the radio. The display was off, but the voice continued, "Don't slow down." I looked in my side mirror, nothing, empty highway behind me. Then I checked the small mirror above the passenger seat, and my heart nearly stopped. In the sleeper compartment, the blanket was lifted slightly, like something underneath it shifted. A slow rise, a slow fall, breathing. I didn't open the curtain, I didn't look directly, I just drove faster. Speed limit forgotten, because now I understood. It doesn't attack, it doesn't grab. It waits, it rides, and if you stop long enough, it... We placed you around noon. I pulled into a large truck stop outside Little Rock. I didn't want to, but I was running low on fuel. And I thought daylight, crowds, people, safer. I parked near the front, engine idling. Sat still for a full minute, listening, no breathing, no whisper, just the normal hum of a busy lot. I convinced myself. Maybe it's tied to darkness, maybe daylight weakens it. I stepped out, locked the truck, went inside. The truck stop was busy, drivers everywhere. Cashiers chatting, normal life. I felt stupid, paranoid. Maybe exhaustion had finally caught up with me. I paid for fuel, grabbed coffee. And when I walked back outside, my truck was running, engine roaring. I know I turned it off. The driver's side door was open. I froze. Drivers nearby didn't react, didn't seem to notice. I walked slowly toward it. The CB inside crackled loudly. "You left your seat." My hand started shaking again. I climbed up into the cab slowly. Driver's seat empty, passenger seat empty, but the sleeper curtain was wide open. And the mattress was gone. Not messy, not torn, gone. In its place darkness, not shadow, not poor lighting, just absence, like the sleeper compartment had turned into a tunnel. A space that didn't belong to the truck anymore. The CB crackled again. "It's your turn." The steering wheel jerked violently. The truck began moving. No one behind the wheel. I lunged forward and grabbed it. Hit the brake, hard. The truck stopped inches before hitting another rig. Horns blared around me. Drivers shouting. I didn't hear any of it clearly. Because from behind Min, that empty dark space, something crawled forward. Long fingers gripping the metal frame, head emerging slowly, face now fully formed, and it was mine, not perfectly, slightly off, eyes too. Deep, smiled wide, but unmistakably me. It studied my movements, mirrored my breathing, testing. Drivers don't stop. It stepped one leg into the cab, its joints cracked wrong. Its foot pressed onto the floor beside my seat, and I realized the truth. It doesn't ride with you forever. It practices. It studies you until it can drive, until it can replace. And once it does, you become the passenger, lost in the sleeper, in the dark, riding forever. I did the only thing I could think of. I slammed the truck into reverse, flooring it. The truck shot backward violently. The creature stumbled, half in, half out. I shifted hard into drive, rammed straight forward, then reverse again. Back and forth, metal screeching, drivers yelling. The creature shrieked, not in pain, in anger, because it couldn't balance, couldn't copy fast enough. I grabbed the emergency brake, yanked it with everything I had, then jumped out of the cab. I ran, didn't look back. Didn't care about the truck, didn't care about the load. Just ran into the truck stop building. People stared. I must have looked insane. Covered in sweat, eyes wild. I turned back, toward the lot. My truck was still, engine off, door closed, like nothing happened. A crowd gathered around it. Someone yelled, "Driver, that your rig?" I nodded slowly, but I didn't move toward it. Because in the driver's seat, I saw someone sitting there, hands on the wheel, looking forward calmly. It turned slightly toward the window, and I saw my own face, perfect now, no distortion, no wrong joints, just me, watching me. Then it smiled and mouthed something. I read it clearly. He stopped. The horn blared once, and the truck began pulling out of the lot. No one tried to stop it. No one questioned why it drove off without me. I stood there helpless, watching my truck disappear down the highway, driving perfectly, shifting smoothly, just like I would. And that's when I heard it, from behind me, from inside my own chest. Breathing, not outside, inside, slow inhale, slow exhale. I froze, because I realized something worse. Maybe it didn't replace me. Maybe it split. Maybe one version keeps driving, and one version stays behind, learning, waiting for another seat to leave empty. Last night I bought a bus ticket home. I don't drive anymore. But at exactly 1:18 a.m., every night I wake up and feel the mattress dip slightly behind me. Like someone sitting there, patient, waiting for me to stop moving long enough to switch places.